today's talk are about 10 different ways that you can create success in whatever venture that you're looking for, whether that's financial or in your particular life. And this is through, you can see the book at the back, Social Magnetism. It's a lot to do with the way you connect and how you engage with people. Very, very important. And really what I'm going to do is actually share something from this, which I invested in a while ago. Now, what is that? This was ages ago, in the days of cassette. So if I can show you the inside. And really, programs like this really helped me create £1 million businesses. So how to get from where you are to where you want to be. Now, this cassette series is actually 12 cassettes. And I listened to a lot of people's talks and videos and so on. And this is the only series which my son helped me convert, by the way, to MP3s. This is the only series where every single side is just so full of content. Now, it says that you can do this it's a 6-week program, and this 6-week program comes with a whole bunch of, I'm going to tell you something really cool because you can get this complimentary. This came with manuals and so on. Yes, a whole bunch of manuals which help you walk through, if you like, how to be successful in any area that you wanted to be successful in. And this was produced by a guy called Jay Abraham. And this is why I want to share just a huge thank you to Christian from Success Resources and Veronica Chu, because, I didn't know Jay Abraham was going to be there. And Christian invited me. He's kind of a friend, and you may see him in a lot of the groups that I set up, because I like people to know what I'm doing. And so there I am, and you might think that, oh, this is a big event with thousands of people and there was going to be some upsell. No, it was nothing like that. It was just probably 18 to 20 very strong, successful people sitting down together doing a mastermind with Jay Abraham. Now, I have to admit something here. Apart from me being a huge fan of Jay Abraham, but also I have tried to create my own masterminds, not very well at the moment. so I'm still working on that. I think I've almost sorted that out. And anyway, at the end of it, Jay Abraham kindly signs my set. To Ben, what a pleasure and a privilege to meet someone who manifests so impressively my values and beliefs. And I'm really a great fan of Jay's anyway. So I'm going to share really just one page from this section, and some of the things we talked about at that mastermind. I just took tons and tons of notes from the mastermind, and it was just fantastic to be working with the people there, some with just massive businesses. All right, so success, 10 ways that you can create your own success. Number 1, direct contact. Now, if it's business, we just call that direct sales, and that's purely by just going out, knocking on doors, just talking to people at events. Now, there is a right way to talk to people and a wrong way to talk to people, and that is in the Social Magnetism book that we've got at the back. So it really shows you how to connect and how to actually ask for an order. Our good friend, Kristen O'Connell, who runs an organization that recruits and helps people in sales, shares this comment that roughly, if you just did door-to-door knocking, probably there's a small percentage, maybe about 2 to 10%, depending on the product, where people will just buy because it's an impulse buy. So this is one one way you can do things. And now I want to share it more broadly, that rather than just sales, just by directly asking people for what you want. So it may not be sales. It may be that you want to become a top dancer. I always use dancing because that's what I do. But you might want to become a top writer and get some kind of coaching to become that top writer, or actor or broadcaster. It really doesn't matter. I share these kinds of industries because I'm so much a part of them. All right, then the next way is telemarketing. That's number 2, telemarketing. Now, telemarketing is purely just getting your phone and calling people and saying, hey, now, again, people get telemarketing wrong because they phone up and say, hey, I'm XYZ, would you like to buy? Which is a terrible thing. Today, we have Facebook, we have LinkedIn. There are people who are your friends. So you can actually just call them up and say, listen, I'm starting a new business. It's in this industry. I'm really, really interested in getting customers. Can you help me? Can you give me some recommendations? And so telemarketing is slightly different from the old days of when this production was produced. And, you know, I remember when I was starting my education business that I would literally phone, actually it was brokers. So people who used to broker education to the large corporates. You could do the same thing. There are people who have seen what I've been doing, and actually I've contacted them. And for example, I have to thank Am, who has been helping me a lot in PR and so on. But they have seen the stuff that I've produced, so we can call them up. These are the TED Talk people to get the TED Talks. And so that's telemarketing. Really, it's just phoning up people, showing them what you can do. Now, there was no sales to do TED Talks, was there, right? But telemarketing can also help improve your business. And communicating with people on Facebook or LinkedIn, just having conversations, that is probably the equivalent of the old style of telemarketing. Referral systems. I love referral systems, really do. Now, when you are giving so much value to people, it's almost, most of the time, people today offer me connections. So that's a referral, somebody else referring you on. And they don't ask for any money, or they don't charge for it. It's just, Ben, you've done such a great job for me. I'd like to put you in touch with XYZ because I think that you can help them. More than that, if we wanted to create a business from that, and which actually we do have reciprocal, if you like, ways of doing business with people in the referral system, we actually will pay anywhere between 10 and 20% in terms of our content business for anybody who becomes a customer. So this is a very fantastic component. In the same way, for anyone who helps me become an actor or a speaker in some areas, I will help them out in some way. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a monetary transaction. Anyway, referral systems, so many kinds of referral systems, just a mouth, but you can also do recommendations. You can actually ask people for recommendations. Please be adding value. If you don't know how to add value, watch my TED Talk on social magnetism. I'm promoting it like mad at the moment. People are saying, oh, Ben, you just want to get the highest tips. Of course I do in the TED world, because I want to get on their main stages. But more than that, it is so helpful to everybody who is in any kind of world where they want to really push their levels up, whether it be business or a career. So please watch that talk on social magnetism, because it has 3 very, very important components that if you just know those 3 components inside out, it will just rocket your whole success in any area that you choose. So referral systems. Now, referral systems isn't just me asking you for some contacts, and perhaps we can do some business on that, but also you can do this through your LinkedIn and your Facebook. You can ask people, hey, listen, I'm doing X, Y, Z. A common one, and you saw me do this, is just to ask people, for people in health, because I'm actually useless and I do not understand different health kind of, I don't know, words. So people are very, very fantastic there and helping me, recommending me local chiropractors. I didn't even know what a chiropractor was until about a few years ago, where I did a video of me on the back and somebody hurting me. Yeah, they were trying to fix me. All right. So referral systems, a great way for revenue and for increasing success. Now, joint ventures. So that's the next one there, joint ventures. I love joint ventures. And in the property world, we actually teach people how to do joint ventures. If I could recommend anybody who is, I don't like to use the word broke, but they don't have much capital to invest in, joint ventures are a much, much better way of increasing your success. Yes, you don't make as much finance, but you wouldn't have made any in the first place. And I'm constantly trying to get people to do joint ventures. Now, statistically, joint ventures have a huge amount of failure because people won't do enough due diligence on the potential partners. And I've had my own problems where I haven't done enough due diligence, or just for speed, I've done a venture with someone, which also has caused me problems. So joint ventures are a fantastic way, but you must do that due diligence. Now, what is it? What is due diligence? Well, first of all, it's not really what you think it is. Most people seem awesome when you meet them. Everyone who sees me thinks, Ben, you're wonderful, you're fantastic, and this is really good for my head. It gets bigger and bigger. But after a while, they may not like some of my characteristics. For example, if they send me like lots of emails or text messages and I don't think it's important, I will not respond because I get so many. Or if I'm very busy, I will put a priority on those text messages and perhaps reply in 2-3 days' time. So some people don't like that kind of contact. I'm the wrong person to do a joint venture with. Also, I can become quite dictatorial when things aren't going smoothly, and I'm thinking, do this, do this. And again, this may not be a good person for you to do a joint venture with. So please do due diligence on the people and whether the personalities connect. The next aspect of due diligence is whether that person will really deliver. For example, there's a couple that we've done some joint ventures with, and they always want to be part of the process. Frankly, I don't want them there, but they want to have equal, we're going to do this amount of work and you're going to do this amount of work. And that doesn't work for me because you can never, ever do an equal 50-50. And that's what they're constantly measuring on. And I told them right up front, this is not going to work for me. I'd rather do all the work. You just put up the investment or something and I'll sort it out. So just think about the due diligence and do enough work on the people. Some of us, we like to go for dinner with them. I personally, if I'm doing due diligence on a person, prefer to go play a game or do some kind of job with them, paint a house, something that would show up their character. All right, so due diligence, incredibly important. And if you are doing a joint venture, again, please, we always say, write your divorce papers up front. In other words, if anything goes wrong, or if you don't deliver a certain aspect by 90 days, then let's call it a day, because we don't want to waste each other's time, especially when you're focused and you've got your purpose. All right, next revenue or success generator is direct mail. direct mail. So we all know that direct mail is originally just putting letters out to people. And in fact, we've been very successful with our direct mail. We don't actually post letters out. We use leaflets in our property business. And the guys, Miles and Pete and Keeley, they've been phenomenal in some of the areas. So we've been regularly putting the mail through the letter boxes. And this is the next thing. If you are doing any kind of direct mail, you need to be consistent. I've worked with people before where they'll do it for 2 or 3 weeks and then give up. That's it. Terrible, terrible thing to do. You need to be consistent. You need to be continually delivering those messages, because most people will actually ignore the direct mail, the leaflets. They will rip it up. They will put it in the bin. But, you know, after time, it gets in their head and they actually look at it. And we teach different ways of dealing with direct mail. All of them work depending on your situation and depending on your clients. So I'll just give you an example. If you're using direct mail, and we've got a database of people's names, so we write it on the letter, put it through the letterbox. But one of the things that you can do is actually just on the leaflet, just scrunch it up and put it through the letterbox. And you'll be surprised. One of our customers actually did very well, because people are always opening it up and saying, oh, there's a scrunched piece of paper. So direct mail works in various variety of situations, as long as you're consistent with it. Now, direct mail isn't just putting leaflets through people's doors. We can use email, which I don't think is so productive today, unless it's a very niche category and you're working with certain kinds of email. For example, if you use someone's general email, that may not be so wonderful. But what if you use their LinkedIn email, where they hardly get many messages, or their Facebook Messenger? I'm overloaded on my Facebook Messenger, so I actually don't read all of them these days. But you might find a certain area. And if you have created a web funnel where people actually request the emails, and you're constantly giving value, which we talk about in social magnetism, constantly going to mention social magnetism, because it's everything to do with any kind of success. So if you're constantly adding value in those direct messages to people, then after a while, I think we tracked it at between 7 and 10 messages, people will actually want to engage with you. But you have to be consistent. All right, advertising. Everybody knows about advertising. And I think in order to be successful, you can advertise. So you might want to advertise for a dance partner. You might not want to advertise for people for a group, or you might just want to advertise for business. So advertising, very, very important. Now, over time, advertisements have evolved. And again, you need consistency. So perhaps you could get some business on a one-off advert, depending on what you've put in it and depending how you've structured the advert. But most of the time, it's consistency. It's you regularly putting that advert out there before it does well. One of the lovely things about Jay Abraham is many of the strategies that are in his series. Seriously, it was really groundbreaking when I went through it, is that he would give you all the different avenues which you could use, so for example, advertising or any other component. So advertising, very, very important. Now, you can have paid for advertising and non-paid for advertising. Many of you know I'm a bit of a social media guy, and I use a lot of non-paid advertising. So how do you do non-paid advertising? Well, you have your own pages, you have your own walls, you can create your own groups. I have special groups which I advertise to, and I post bits about. Most of you will not be in them. And I have big groups where I don't advertise at all, mostly because I like to create big networking groups where actually I can give value to people by introducing them and connecting them with one another, which I don't get any money for. So, or I can just add advice if they're looking for something or a partner. So advertising, very, very important. And there's all, you could write books on advertising. I'm just going to mention that as a revenue generator. Developing a back end. Now, this is perhaps my best strategy ever, developing a back end for success. And what that is the ability to have we used to call them lost leaders in the Microsoft and IBM day. In other words, this is something where we don't make any money, and sometimes it actually costs us money to produce and send out. I was very, very privileged to produce this little card, and it's a beautiful card that I developed with a guy called Rodney Payton, who's wonderful guy from Ireland. And this is there's a lot of talks here, so you just plug that into your computer. You can see there's a little chip there, and it's on all the ways that you can develop and create passive income streams. So a lot of fantastic speakers on here. And I only just got this through the post, one of those great things that happened to me this week, to advertise and share with people. I don't think there's a charge for it, but well, actually, I don't know. I don't want to say anything. So I'll find out a bit more once I've listened to it. But it was a great way to produce something, and it's a great way of advertising, by the way, myself and my capabilities without me having to charge for things, because I'm now supporting other people. All right, developing a backend. So the backend is, I was talking about a lost leader. Now, some of you ask why there are certain kinds of people that I will coach for free and do things for free. I'm going to call it free. I will walk away, by the way, if they don't take action, because I don't like to waste my time. I really don't. Now, quite often, once people see that value, they will ask me for certain things, which will take too much of my time. And that's essentially creating that back end. If you have multiple products, you can charge some products almost at giveaway prices. For example, my book, Social Magnetism, it's really not expensive for the amount of value that you get in that book. And I've had many people already come and say really complimentary things. Now, we wanted to keep the book to be inexpensive because we wanted people all around the world to be able to afford it. And we don't make much profits from this, but any profits we do make, we actually give to charity. I've been supporting children and educating them since my first job. So that back end, people then are able to see what we're capable of, and then over time you can grow them as a customer. But if you don't have them as a customer at all, what was the point of even having a business? So that's by having low products up front, but then growing the relationship with the person. And you must have someone who can grow that relationship. If you're shy, if you're not very communicative, if you don't like to go out networking and being sociable, then find somebody in your team who does like that. I love a talk I heard from Vanilla Ice, from Ice Baby. So he now has a big property business, and one of his nuggets was, why do I want to keep a sociable person behind a desk doing admin? That's crazy. I rather have them going out and talking and sharing and networking, because over time they will bring people in. And this is actually, I just love doing that myself. I just love going out, and I've been very privileged this week to be asked to be an ambassador for two very iconic brands, which I can't share until I've got signed all the details for. So a backend is just an amazing way to create success by having just pretend in my dance world. So I've helped quite a few people in the dance world, either directly or indirectly. And a lot of those people, if I need a favor somewhere, are just willing to help me out. And that's a non-profit backend, if you like. Yes, because they will help me to reach some level. All right, endorsements. I love endorsements. Again, when you're giving so much value to people, endorsements is just a brilliant, brilliant way to create success. People know me for dance, so they ask me to dance. I feel really bad because I've worked with top dancers, and my dance level, I have to say, is not near close to their level, but my level is much higher than many of the average people. So I get endorsements in dance. I get endorsements in just many different areas as a lecturer, as a coach, as a teacher, as an entertainer. And these endorsements bring extra business and success to you when people are really promoting you for no reason at all. And I just want to thank many of you who are watching this today. Just really thank you for promoting the Social Magnetism TED Talk, because I really feel that is such an important message there. So thank you for promoting it and endorsing me in that. I'm sure one day I'll be able to reciprocate somehow. I don't know how, but again, thank you for that. And that's really pushing me up the, if you like, the food chain. Host and parasite relationships. I love this. Host and parasite relationships. Now, parasite sounds like a bad word, doesn't it? I don't know if you understand I think it's the tick bird that lives on top of the hippopotamus. So and it eats the ticks, the mites that suck the hippopotamus's blood, right? So there they have this kind of symbiotic relationship. And again, Jay Abraham's really big on this. So, for example, we're very big into content. That's one of my businesses. And for us to have a relationship with a marketing department where we produce their content, which helps their customers, is fantastic, because they will promote us. We won't make as much money, but we have constant business. So this is, to me, I just love these kind of relationships where you can, if you like, either piggyback off somebody else's relationships, because their customers in marketing and PR, they need great content. They just absolutely need it. And even the ones which have good content writers are overloaded because they're really great at sales. So they always need a company like ours to help with their creating their media. So I love this host, if you like, or parasite relationships where you can almost feed off of one another. Now, those are several of the revenue generators that you could implement right now today. Really, really wonderful way to create success. Obviously, it's going to cost you time and work. And if you're not used to doing some of this, you will get it wrong. So what? Yes. Please do get it wrong. I love the people. What was it? Sir Thomas Watson was asked by a budding entrepreneur or a journalist, I can't remember, how they could become more successful faster. And Sir Thomas Watson, I think he said, you just have to make more mistakes faster, because the more mistakes you make, the faster you will think, oh, that didn't work well. I better recalibrate and redo something. So I made a mistake recently at a Yes Group. Yes Group is our big property group. And I thought I was doing something good. And I didn't. I actually upset a good close friend of mine by what I said. They Yeah, just my fault. And sometimes we do this by accident. Because who wants to do a deliberate mistake? I killed a spider by accident yesterday. It was crawling up my leg. I didn't know what it was, and I just brushed it off. Just brushed it off my leg, and it was actually a spider, and I killed it. I was mortified. I love spiders, and I was, oh my goodness. So sometimes we make mistakes which hurt other people. We don't mean to. It happens. Hopefully, and this is great because the person. I feel in their life I've added tons and tons of value, so they know that I didn't do it on purpose. Please, please, please carry on adding value to people. All right, so those are some of the ways that you can create success. Again, thank you to Christian for just, this last couple of years, I've met Brian Tracy and Jay Abraham. These I guess are my heroes, because every speaker that I've known who's been on stage and they've all got their programs, they've actually built those programs on people like Jay Abraham, on people like Brian Tracy. So now I was joking with shall I call him Jay, Mr. Abraham, and I said, well, I have actually converted a lot of these cassettes. Actually, my son Nate did this for me, to MP3s. So I'm going to give them all away for free. And to my surprise, he said, Ben, do this. If you do that, I would be absolutely pleased, 100% pleased. The program did say it takes 6 weeks to go through. It took me probably about 7 or 8 months to go through, because it was so full of content. And for me to even get my head around implementing some of this stuff was just really, it just took a lot of time and thought processes. There are talks in here about how you can, for example, I know a lot of coaches. My son and I, we did some direct calling of just under 100 coaches. And we found that most of them are what we call underutilized. In other words, they weren't making much money. And one of Jay Abraham's really great messages is find people who are underutilized or they don't have enough business, so you can create and if you like, pay them for not as much as it would cost you if they were overutilized. And you can use that underutilization to create either joint ventures, to create extra income, because what else are they doing? So I love that underutilization concept. You will find that in this program. He also teaches you how to use leads that will never turn into customers, because not everybody likes you, not everyone likes your product, not everyone it has the finance for your product. So he teaches you how to give these customers to potentially your competitors and make an income from sharing that the database that isn't useful to you. Just really great components. Now, so I'd like to end this. How do I want to end this? Just to say, if you want some of these components, I don't have anywhere to download them, but you could ask me. You could send me USB sticks. There is a website that Jay's given me that you can download them from. But I was chatting with his daughter, and she's still trying to categorize them so that people can find the right programs for the people. This, when I was speaking with him, was his real labor of love, because he put so much work into this particular series. I haven't been to their website yet, so I don't know how it's been categorized. It's called How to Get From Where You Are to Where You Want to Be. And really, the problem with his site is there's several terabytes of information. So you probably won't be able to digest all of that content, and it is pure content. I've listened to a lot of content recently from a variety of speakers, and a lot of that is, for example, how to be a speaker. A lot of the stuff in the How to Be a Speaking program was either waffle, or it didn't teach you stage presence, or it didn't teach you how to connect with the audience. And what a lot of it was how to sell from the stage, for example. Whereas with Jay's programs, it really is solid. Like, he just doesn't have time to talk rubbish. No offense to anybody out there if you've got programs. Okay, please do let me know if you're interested in getting some of this material. Also, we're doing an event in London on the 10th of July on content, and how I've been able to raise millions in content, how I've been able to actually, so that's investment, how I've actually made money through content, how I've had television programs and radio programs and being interviewed through content. So if you're interested in coming to the event on the 10th of July, please do write a comment down here. And again, if you're watching this video and you haven't wished me happy birthday, please comment on the video, on the picture just below this video. All right, guys, thank you so much. I know this has kind of been a long one today, but thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you've got some value from this, and speak with you soon. Bye for now. This is Ben Chai, the Doctor Who of Business, saying goodbye.